Hi everyone, welcome to today's story, which is Funny Flamingo. Flora the Flamingo was just like any other flamingo you might happen to meet. She was tall, elegant and very pink. The problem was Flora was getting quite bored of being tall. She was getting quite bored of being elegant, and most of all, she was really bored of being so pink. Just then, a fairy appeared by the flamingo pool. "Can I help you?" she said, waving her wand in the air. Flora flapped her wings excitedly. "Yes, please," she replied. "I wish you could make me different." The fairy raised her wand high in the air. "I can do that," the fairy replied. In a flash, Flora's feathers had gone. Her skin felt all slippery, and she was surrounded by dolphins. "Brrr," shivered Flora. "I'm far too cold without my feathers," she cried. "I think I'd like to be something else instead." The fairy thought for a moment and waved her wand again. Now Flora was deep in the jungle and covered in stripy tiger fur. "Phew!" gasped Flora. "It's very warm in the jungle with all this fur. Do you think I could be something else instead?" The fairy thought hard for a moment. Flora didn't like being cold without her feathers, and she didn't like being too hot in fur. "I know," said the fairy, waving her wand once more. This time Flora found herself high up in a tree. She was happy to see her feathers had come back, but now they had changed colour. Flora looked at the little bird next to her. "Hello," Flora said. "Would you mind telling me what you are?" The little bird looked confused. "I am an owl, of course," replied the little owl. "But what on earth are you? I've never seen an owl so big or with such long legs." Flora had to admit it was getting a bit uncomfortable high up on a branch, and she didn't think her new brown feathers suited her at all. "Perhaps I would be better back on the ground," Flora told the fairy. "As you wish," replied the fairy with a glint in her eye. The bright flash from Fairy's wand made Flora's eyes shut tight. When she opened them again, she realised she was somewhere she had never been before. "Where am I?" Flora stuttered. "You're on a farm," replied a friendly cat. Flora looked down at her feathers. They were black and white, and she could feel two little horns on the top of her head. "She doesn't look like any cow I've ever seen," said the farmer's real cow. "That's because I'm not a cow," said Flora miserably, "or an owl, or a tiger, or a dolphin." "Fairy, I need to change right now," Flora said angrily. "I really should give my wand a rest. It's done too much magic today already." But Flora didn't listen. Flora tried to take the little fairy's wand, but as she did, a bright light shot out of the end of the wand and covered Flora in a wave of sparkles. Flora couldn't believe her eyes. She was now a mixture of all the animals, from her tiger's tail all the way up to the cow's horns. Flora wanted to be different, but now she felt miserable. "I'm sorry," said Flora to the little fairy. "I shouldn't have tried to take your wand. I just want to be back to being me." The fairy smiled. "Perhaps I have one last wish left on my wand. Hold on tight." The fairy swirled round Flora, lifting her high into the air. Flora was back in the lagoon with the rest of the flamingos. "I'm finally happy," Flora thought. "I'm happy being me." The end.